Hey YouTube, it's ShryphonX here. Today we're going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 25. Like and subscribe for more content. Yugji becomes the new SUKUNA. The final ending of Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 25. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 25 is titled A Bright Future. This chapter has 22 pages. Editor's note. Place at Idori arrived at is. The color spread shows both sides. On the left are the Remelians, Oski and his two friends, Jabaloma, Maru and Cross, Deburo with his sister Spajo. On the left background are Dura together with Rika in gold, as well as Maharaga, Yuji, Old Nobara, and Mahito, the shark guy Osada from Chapter 3. The Kulyon dominates that side as well, and beneath them is old YUJI together with his three children. On the right are the sorcerers. From left to right are Yakumo, the man who shot Cross in Chapter 12, triggering the war. Uruli, the healer who can use reverse cursed technique. Chiharu Miyagani, Kyuko Tomo, the curse user Masaki Takeda, Kadawaki, Yakumaru's Jr., and the fisherman from Chapter 11, as well as Usami and Mino. Leading the cast here are Tsurugi and Yuka Okatsu, with the silhouettes of old Maki in green and Yuta in gold, just like Rika. The only characters not shown are the Okatsu's parents, Yuji's gambling buddy, and Aoi to do. For more information on the whole side cast, see Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Volume 2. The chapter begins with a color page with Nobara finally reuniting with Yuji, who holds Panda in his hand. Nobara scolds Yuji for only saying yo after decades of not meeting up. We return to the meeting from last chapter, where the council votes to live with the Kulyon, choosing to never abandon as they have done and not let either side die. It does not matter whether or not the Kulyon do not attack or if they hear their voices in their heads. They are family. The mother returns the twins return to Yuka and Tsurugi as they talk about what happened, with Maru worried that they would face the death penalty for such blasphemy, while Cross is surprised he gets heavily blamed in spite being comatose for most of the second half of the series. Later, the Okatsu siblings would meet with the woman from the first chapter, their mother Mafuyu, as she scolds Yuka for hiding her cancer and going to Tokyo to duel with an alien on her own authority without letting her know. However, Mayufu expresses pride in being able to give birth to the two of them. The same words Maki's mother said before dying, but this time, this woman, responsible for distancing the siblings initially, Mayufu also believes that her parents-in-law, Yuta and Maki, are also proud of the Okatsu grandchildren. And Mayufu also brings up Iori, but also says that she hopes they do not cause trouble for him. Tsurugi smirks at how their mother is. A father who is still alive and not there, and a mother who kept both siblings away from each other, and yet there is always that tinge of love between them that they all cannot communicate. At least Yuta and Tsurugi are close now. Reunion meanwhile, Yuji explains why he left everyone to Nobara, that apart from being afraid to see his friends die, the fact that Yuji, who ate the death paintings, is someone who is between a curse and a human like Tenjin was, and never dying like any normal human, made Yuji feel uncomfortable with his own existence, as if he should not interfere with the present because he should be dead or decrepit. Yuji seems to like squeezing tiny Panda's head. He needs a pet. He is lonely. Yuji finally takes off the hood, having constantly hidden his unaging face for those reasons. We see that he looks exactly the same, but with more volume to his hair and more young adult features. Yuji learned from the aliens about moving forward in the present, as they were able what he did not accomplish all this time, to end the cursed spirit problem. Having recalled his grandfather Waisuk's words in the very first chapter, to help people, Yuji realizes that he must now use his power to do what needs to be done, so he asks for Nobara's help. Would resonance play a role in Yuji's plan? Panda speaks up, saying that he would not have wanted to interrupt them talking. Nobara is surprised to see Panda can still talk, but he clarifies that he can only do so once in a while due to his limited power, which we learned from the epilogue and where we met the new Okatsus. Yuji's countermeasures the reason I was brought along was just because it would be awkward alone, but the meaning of my presence vanished in a second. Yugji brings up the plan regarding the countermeasures for when new cursed spirits will be born. Since there will be no new sorcerers to be born, the present ones must be prepared. So Yugji and Nobara will work together with the still unseen 84-year-old Aoi. To do Nobara was worried Yugji would go all spiritual, but to do's technique, Boogie Woogie, will make sense of what they might do. With Boogie Woogie, To-Do and Yugji will exorcise the remaining cursed spirits immediately after they are born to prevent them from gaining great power. Since the barriers are the ones based on Tengen's old ones, this operation will still be sustainable even without new sorcerers. The plan goes like this. Find people with heavenly restriction, physically gifted like Toji, Maki, and Tsurugi, track them down and map their family trees. Secure and mass-produce cursed tools for the future generations of non-sorcerers to use. The former big three families will be helpful even with their decline in prominence. Yugji will become a cursed object for future generations to have. Physically gifted are the new sorcerers without cursed energy being mass-produced. There will now be a gap in power for humans when they face the supernatural. Yuji's solution is to find the physically gifted and recruit them as future soldiers. They are usually tied by family, due to heavenly restrictions being genetic vows. The Zenin clan is an obvious spot since Tsurugi is one himself. Because of this, the remaining sorcerers must pour out their cursed energy and efforts to make as many cursed tools as needed, all for the future to be prepared. Yugji, the new Ryman Sukuna, the third part, is the trickiest of all, for Yugji, the strongest, to live on forever. Befitting his bodhisattva role and his promise to Mahito, Yugji will continue living on, wiping out curses endlessly. In 200 or 300 years, even as Tokyo is reconstructed, Yuji's presence will have created a legend of safety to build the new sorcerer-less society around. But since aliens showed up all of a sudden, they will need the unique strength Yugji has for the future. In the event humanity needs the renewable power of cursed energy, they will need to consume a cursed object, and Yugji intends to be that means. Nobara jokes that she hopes there will be people with Yuji's poor sense of hygiene to be able to eat a corpse. Nobara wonders how to make someone into a cursed object. The only person with that knowledge is Yuji's mother, Kinjaku, but he is dead and consumed by Rika. So they will need to figure it out. Yugji also misses Megumi. Megumi is dead. We finally have the answer to a 25-chapter, 6-month-long question. Megumi's fate. Memes have covered how he could have died to a grade 3 or 6 curse. But maybe he just died of old age like Maki did. It could be that Megumi's death was the catalyst behind Yuji's depression, and seeing Hana go was the last straw. Hana could have also died to heartbreak, but until we get confirmation, we're not sure if Hana and Megumi married at all. Still, it feels like Gij left out Megumi's fate on purpose, or is yet another confirmation that Megumi was ultimately an afterthought once he ran with the current idea of Jujutsu Kaisen under Yugji as the protagonist. It feels like the character is not given proper screen time, while Nobara has a full chapter to herself here. More than 10 pages of content if we count the extra stories having her in a conversation with Mino in Chapter 20. Old soldiers never die. The death of sorcery having seen it himself. Yugji confirms that all cursed spirits in the inhuman Makio of Tokyo have vanished, which Yugji feels should be enough to convince Jujutsu headquarters to help him out in his proposal. With sorcerers gone, Yugji faces the same problem Maru did in the previous chapter. To be sure that the plan goes through, Yugji recommends not informing the higher-ups about the fact that no more sorcerers will be born after this point, so this information stays off the record and is kept between himself, Maru and Cross, Nobara, Panda, and possibly Usami, Mino, and the Okatsu siblings. Furthermore, Yugji mentions how there are still remnants of Mul, or from non-acts that remain usable. However, Nobara realizes from Yuji's words that without cursed energy, Mul becomes a weak bargaining chip. Yugji also points out that the energy crisis will get worse with time, and so his greatest worry is not the existence of future cursed spirits, but of how the truth of the death of sorcery will be used to stigmatize the Remelians who have longed for a home. Aliens are good now. Yuka, Tsurugi, Maru, and Cross hang out, watching Jabaloma and Usami, who has recovered thanks to Maru, play baseball. Jabalom and Usami talk about the whole truth behind sorcerers no longer being born, and Jabaloma knows how serious it would be for headquarters to find out. So, Usami says he will make the first move. Usami recalls what Yugji left him when he recovered, to blame everything on him. The cover story is that Maru conducted the ritual of harmony on Yuji's orders, and that they should call him if they need backing. Solving one other consequence Yugji brought up earlier, we see the youngsters watch a video. Someone captured the duel between Maharaga and Dabura, framing it as a battle of justice against a demon. Here, Maharaga is the villain that Satoru Gojo should have buried long ago, while Dabura, the alien newcomer, is the hero who came from millions of light years away just to fight this demon in the place of humans too weak to face it. This is thanks to YUJI documenting the duel through his birds, both the black bird manipulation technique and the new shadow-style children trained by YUJI. Now, what is not covered is without cursed energy, what happens to the new shadow-style school that teaches simple domain. Maybe you will not like what is going on now that he lost a good source of capital, but who knows? Tsurugi asks Usami why they even play catch when it is boring as a kid. For Usami, it helps wake up a dull body with moderate exercise while also forming a line of communication. Tsurugi understands now why middle-aged men like Usami play golf. Usami ends his part, being the politician and cabinet minister that he is, with a meta point for the story and the audience. Individuals tend to be overlooked when conversing about nations or ethnic groups. People do not exist for the sake of the nation. The nation exists for the sake of the people. We end up forgetting such an obvious thing. Now Maru and the rest play catch, with Maru reflecting on how they should treasure each moment together. Here, he realizes that his and Cross techniques, chaos and harmony, are a wish, not a cursed technique. So in a way, a cursed technique fulfills the wishes of others by connecting them through harmony. Just like Gojo in the final chapter of the original series, we get a monologue about a bright future. For Gojo, it is where he does not matter and where future generations can stand strong together, not alone. Here, Maru reflects on the pursuit of happiness and ends his part, saying he wants to know more about Earth. Wait did Dabura. The chapter and series as a whole ends with Yuka and Tomo talking about everything that Yuka went through. Yuka mentions Dabura, but Tomo cuts her off, saying that compared to what Yuka went through, her love life does not matter. But then Yuka ends off the series as she said that it was not like it did not matter, implying that behind the scenes, a human and a Sumerian alien really had a relationship. After a while, the girls pause and blush from the implication of Tomo blurting out about her feelings for Dabura, but also of Yuka realizing she might have known something she should not. Gij Akatami. Having my color art published alongside Iwasaki-san's was the most educational experience for me. See you later, Yuji Iwasaki. I gave it my absolute all just to keep up, and after half a year, I'm completely burned out. I'll build up my strength and come back again. Editor's note. Thanks for reading for half a year. Stay tuned for Gij and Iwasaki-sensei's next work. The final volume of JJK Modulo releases on May 1st. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more content. ShryphonX out.